Hey there. Hey, I'm Jim Craddock, and today is August the 23rd, 2023. And this is my first one of these. I'm not sure what day I'm going to set it for release. Sometime in the future, obviously. But in short, I'm going to try to explain my medical condition, and I'll give updates on it as we go along, I guess. Uh, it's been a difficult life for me since I was about 25. So when I was 25, I started a new job, and my fiance at the time stayed in Norman while I moved to Tulsa, and so I was pretty much on my own, and I was at a new job, and I was stressed for money, so I committed to working 50 hours a week at least, and the new place that I was working, they had like free pop and snacks and stuff like that, and that was awesome. Uh, but I had developed like an issue, and let's just say I thought maybe I had a UTI or something, and but I think it was more to do with all the sugar I was drinking. But looking back, but anyway, so I went to the doctor, and he gave me some antibiotics. Well, the antibiotics caused me to have like stomach reaction with diarrhea and stuff like that. So starting off here, it's obvious my system is not real happy with medications. So then he gave me something which they would never do today. He gave me a drug which has phenobarbital in it as one of the ingredients to try to stop diarrhea. Well, from there, my stomach, I mean, just within a couple pills, not immediately, not the first pill, but pretty soon, I mean, my whole intestines was burning, everything, abdomen, everything was burning. And I didn't know what was going on. So we get in, and I mean, eventually I finally, I will say that the referral process in 1995 was much quicker than it is in 2023. As someone who has been through the medical world throughout his adult life, I can tell you it has just got worse over time. The system has not improved, it has definitely gotten worse. But anyway, so I eventually got into a gastro. He looks at my stomach, says, "You've got the stomach of a 65-year-old. There's like ulcerations everywhere," and which doesn't make sense. I never had any issues with anything. And I'm still taking these pills, by the way, at this point, because I didn't know that the pills were causing the ulcerations. It took me a while to figure that out. But it kind of backing up now to give a little bit more history. When I was 14, I took one phenobarbital tablet as like recreational, stupid teenager thing. And took it, I don't know, maybe about 6 o'clock right before I went to a school dance. Because I thought, this will help me relax, right? So literally by the time I'm at the school dance, my stomach is kind of hurting. Pretty soon, I'm just like, yeah, I'm not interested in the dance at all. I'm just sitting over on the sidelines, kind of cramping, like all this pain in my stomach. Uh, and then I get home, and I'm basically, going at both ends. And my grandmother, who has kind of had worked in a doctor's office, gives me a shot of compazine to try to settle my stomach and let me sleep. But as soon as I wake back up, I'm still throwing up. So and I got a fever. They take me to the hospital. Hospital says my white count's off the chart, and I've got appendicitis. So within 12 hours of taking that pill, I had my appendix out. Just to say that definitely my system doesn't like phenobarbital. Okay. Jumping to the next kind of medical event. Now, this one I actually had completely forgotten, and I'll talk about this later, how I actually remembered it. But so when I was in college, there was a time when I got, I don't know, kind of drunk, but not too drunk. And you know, and my grandparents were out of town. I was staying at their house. And then my friends had told me, well, just drink water if you're real hungover. So I was just drinking lots of water, and pretty soon I couldn't think, and I knew things weren't right. I just was all, you know. So I called one of my brothers at the house, and I actually have the text that I sent to him on Facebook when I finally verified that this actually happened, because I had forgotten it. And then I couldn't remember who was the one that actually picked me up. But then I remembered what his car looked like, and this guy had a very distinctive car. So let's see here. If I go back and find this, yeah. So I asked him on September 16th of last year, weird question for you. Do you remember having to pick me up from my grandmother's house in college and take me to a clinic for treatment? Totally random, I know, and thanks and hello. He said, haha, yes, I can't remember all the details, but I do kind of remember that. And so the deal is here is that, so he picked me up, took me to some random clinic. I have no idea what. And all I remember is waking up in this clinic and being hooked up to like some type of machine with tubes coming into me. And the doctor just telling me to stay there. And then when I got out, he asked me, so how did you get this way? And I said, I just drank a whole lot of water. And I, you know, I was hungover and I just kept drinking water. And he was like, and now I remember this later, but not in time to avoid all the future issues. He said, well, you might have a problem with drinking water, only drink when you're thirsty. And I was like, well, I had no idea what that means. And my brain was still foggy enough that I did not remember that at all. Like that whole thing was just totally mentally blocked. An interesting thing about it, though, is I remember as I was getting dressed afterwards, I had this, I don't know, creepy crawly feeling is all I can say, up my back. And it was a feeling that actually would come back later when I started having other issues. But it felt like there was something kind of squirming under my skin. I don't know. Anyway, so to jump forward, this is like the big long story, so this will be the biggest video for sure. But so when I you know, I have all these stomach issues after I get this new job, and so now I start drinking a lot of water, because it's the only thing that doesn't make my stomach hurt. In fact, cold water in like large quantities is like, oh God, it feels so good. Okay, and I would fill up, you know, large 32-ounce cup of ice cold water straight out of the fridge, and I would drink that sucker in 2-3 seconds, just shoom, the whole thing, like you see those people do beer competitions and things like that. And we were buying bottled water at the time, and I don't know if it was distilled water, honestly, or not, but I could tell you, you know, I obviously became hyponatremic. You know, and so pretty soon, I'm not thinking straight anymore again. And anytime I do eat, I get this burning going on, and you know, I mean, it was not in a great place, and I mean, I was trying anything. I was taking licorice tablets and things, trying to get my stomach to calm down, while I was also, you know, and I stopped eating. I literally went, I don't know, at least a week without eating, and just drinking, and pretty soon I couldn't pee anymore. Sorry for the, you know, reference to biological functions there, but you know, all of these things are pertinent. So and I realized that, okay, I can't keep drinking if I can't, you know, I mean, there's just like, I'm an engineer by trade, so there's a mass balance thing here. If stuff's not coming out, then stuff shouldn't be going in, you know. I mean, if stuff is going in, stuff should be coming out, I guess would be the other way to put it. And so I had a problem. But at this point, you know, at one point I went to the ER, for example, about my stomach burning, and I was just complaining that how much it hurt and everything. And so they gave me this GI cocktail, which I later found out had phenobarbital in it, and literally it just made it worse. And of course, they never believe me when I would go there. And I mean, I guess they believe you, but there's nothing they can really do for you. And then when they make it worse like that, you know, I was just at a loss. You know, you go from being perfectly healthy to, I mean, it feels like just your whole, you know, everything is on fire and nobody could do anything about it. And you kind of give up on the medical system. So I'm trying to solve this problem the best I can with my engineering brain, right? And so I find something that says, okay, if you bear down, this is in the middle of the night one night, if you bear down, you can cause, you know, that can help you go to the bathroom. And so I try to bear down as if I'm going to have a bowel movement to try to pee. And then I have this, what to this day, I can remember so distinctly, and I've never had a doctor believe me when I say this or what, I don't know. But so imagine first on the right hand side, veins in my groin like distending, like sticking out, and just huge amounts of pain, and testicular pain, and yeah, let's just say something that should normally be straight was suddenly very crooked to one side. And then, I mean, pain subsides and you have this, oh, thank God moment, okay? And then, other side, same pain, everything bends to the other direction, testicular pain, veins bulging, just huge amounts of pain, okay? Now, I don't know if I should do this from a point of view of, hey, later I figure out what went on right there, or if I just should kind of tell you what went on right there, because I'm quite sure of what happened right there. Yeah, let's just skip that for now, and we'll come back to it. So I guess we'll approach this from the direction of, hey, I'm going to describe the things that happened, and then I'm going to tell you when I figured it out, what I figured out. So now what I collapse on the floor, and I mean, this is the most painful thing you can imagine, especially your privates, your testes. I mean, this stuff hurts. Collapse on the floor, pass out. Next morning when I get up, I may get to bed and sometime in the middle of the night, I don't know. Next morning when I wake up, I should say, I'm just sweating all over. Diaphoretic is the term for this, okay? And literally my whole body, I'm just sweating everywhere. And it's weird because I have this weird like rash, like anywhere this sweat touches other things, it's causing my skin to break out, like in a redness. And you know, but I do feel, I mean, somewhat better. And oh, one thing I should mention is, so when I did that the night before, it had the pain in the groin, and then on the other side, like there was a sudden short discharge with blood in it. But anyway, so the next day I managed to eat some things, not a whole lot, and I do manage to finally be able to pee again. And so I decide, okay, I'm going to go back home to Tulsa because I had been in Norman. And, you know, I drive halfway, I meet and I have lunch with my mom, and it's really my first full meal. And it causes me to really need to pee a whole lot. Like when I eat this food, suddenly my body's like, oh, I've got salts again, you know, I'm going to pee. And so I'm worried because now I'm definitely going a lot more than I'm drinking, and which is probably a good thing. But anyway, so I started drinking water, and when I get to Tulsa, I'm just like, my body is just like it's in fight or flight mode. And so I go straight to the ER, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm having a heart attack, but you know, I feel like I'm going to explode. And they took my blood pressure, and it was like 212 over 150 or something like that. But they ended up sending me home. Just like, yep, yeah, you need to calm down and go home. All right, so I go home. And let's just say, you know, I spend, oh, I don't know how much more time, honestly, another week or more of this where I'm cycling between this. I'm having to drink a lot because when I drink, I can think, but then I can't go unless I eat. And so finally my mom sits me down and she gives me like this really good meal of beef soup and a Coke. Okay. And literally from the time I started eating that meal to the time I finished the Coke and everything, I probably, I don't know, I had to go to the bathroom 6 or 7 or 8 times. I don't know how many times. And every time it was a whole lot. And I was kind of freaked out by that too. Because I'm like, okay, I'm not drinking. I got a 12-ounce can of Coke here, and I had easily gone 72 ounces. Uh, and so, you know, obviously something isn't right, but I feel this really calm sensation, at least for a little while, and then everything starts not feeling right again. So, and to make a long story short, from there, I finally just like, okay, dude, I can't sleep. My body is my blood pressure is too high. Everything's off. Like, let's get me checked into some mental place, and maybe they can get all my mental stuff. Something is obviously out of whack, back in control. So we drive all the way to Tulsa. We go to St. Francis Hospital and I say, hey, I want to go to Laureate. And I'm like, you know, I am not able to sleep. I don't know what's going on. They don't do any tests on me, anything like that. They just, you know, get me to the Laureate by the next morning. Okay. So now I'm in the Laureate Hospital. Okay. This is a mental institution that is, you know, I mean, it's a nice upscale one, honestly. You know, I mean, it was, and once I'm in there, here's the weird part. Once I'm in there, the setup was very similar to wherever I had gone before with uh for the when I had the SIADH episode in college. I mean, very similar, like waiting room and everything. And when I was in there, I was like, this is bizarre. I have been in either this place or someplace like this before. But that's the first time I remember, literally since that event had occurred, that I had been someplace like that. It was just the visual impact of it. All right, so here I am. I'm in yeah. So I'm in the Laureate, and they interview me, and my pupils are like 100% dilated. I don't know if you've ever seen somebody like that, but I wasn't on drugs, but my pupils were so tired they couldn't get smaller anymore because I'd been awake for so long, and so they could like shine a light and they briefly get smaller, but then whoop, right back full size. Uh, so they think, well, maybe you're bipolar. You're like you're having a manic episode or something like that. And so they put me on lithium and Klonopin. Klonopin is a benzodiazepines used for seizures and various other things, but it's benzodiazepine, so it's like super strong Valium, and it lasts in your system a long time, whereas the half-life for Valium is much shorter. So they put me on 5 milligrams. Trust me, I've had Klonopin pretty much ever since then. 5 milligrams is enough for a horse. And it knocks me out. Finally get to sleep. I wake up having the worst chest pain I've ever had in my life. Like just, I know I'm having a heart attack. I mean, okay, I mean, straight out of sleep, pain, and it doesn't go away. It stays there. So this is a panic attack. Okay. A panic attack does not have prolonged chest pain. Okay. Not like an hour, 2 hours. Okay. This was prolonged chest pain. And they just ignored me. They just had me like sit out in the lobby of the area. You know, we had that communal area. They just had me sit out where they could watch me. So at this point, I realized, okay, I am not here for any medical care. Because if I was, somebody would have been concerned when I was saying, hey, I've got chest pain for 2 hours. And so at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of on my own here, you know. let's get out of here as fast as we can. And so, I start trying to do everything they tell me to do, taking all my drugs on time, everything. But they've got me on, they also put me on some type of antipsychotic. I don't remember which one it was. Risperidol. There you go. And I'm like, I don't need an antipsychotic. I didn't really agree with that. But at first I took it. And then I went and I really, so this took so we left for Norman in the evening. We got there to Tulsa late. They got me into the clinic the next morning, but I didn't actually get to eat until the next day. So it's been quite some time since I've eaten, but finally I get to eat. And I just decide, okay, I'm going to eat, as much as I can. I mean, and try to get back on track. And so I start eating, and I don't know, literally, I get myself just a good plate of food. I've got bananas and milk and orange juice and I don't remember what all was on my plate, but I remember those things specifically. And I get, I don't know, a couple minutes into eating my meal tops, and suddenly I have to go to the bathroom. So I get up and go to the bathroom. Come back, I sit down. Well, I've got to go to the bathroom again. So I get up, and so here's this eating is causing me to have to go thing again. And so now then I'm like halfway through my meal, and I feel just completely intoxicated is all I can tell you. I mean, it feels like I am drunk is what it felt like. So I wasn't too excited about that. I'm like, I probably shouldn't tell them that I feel drunk. I don't know why I feel drunk, but and so then take me upstairs, and I'm supposed to take my medicine, on the full stomach. So I take my medicine, and then they send me to my room, and I'm got this drunk feeling going on. And now I'm in my room, and I start having this reaction, that's all I can call it, is I get hot, and it lasts, I don't know, 30 seconds. And then I get, and so I'm just burning up. It just feels like I can't even describe it. And then all of a sudden I'm freezing cold. And that lasts about the same amount of time. And then it starts over. It goes back the other direction, and I'm hot, and then it goes back the other direction, and I'm freezing cold. And this happens, cycles, not forever, not a long time, maybe 5 minutes. I don't think it lasted probably more than 5 minutes, maybe 6 or 7 minutes, something like that. But these cycles were pretty quick, like 30 seconds each. So it was pretty weird to be bouncing back and forth between it. And then, so I get up, and I'm like, I'm wiping my face, and I have this just waxy coating all over my face and my hands and everything. It's like yellow. And I get out, they give you wash rags. You got your own private room, and I'm washing my face, and just all this yellow stuff is coming off. And I I don't know what's going on, but I know that I shouldn't be having this yellow stuff. And to me, it's somehow connected with, okay, all the urinating and the eating and the hot flashing I don't believe in coincidences so all of this is definitely related. And so, I try to explain to them what's going on, and nobody's really interested. So I do this. I go to the next meal, I eat, I feel drunk, I come back to my room, I have these hot cycles, and cold cycles, and then I have the waxy stuff. And meanwhile, I'm having to urinate a whole lot, more than I should, is all I can say. And so I'm trying to drink to keep up with this, but it gets to a point where it's obvious that I'm losing too much fluid. And that kind of leads us to the next part. So I'm gonna stop this recording here, and we will call this recording, intro, I guess, and we'll go from there.